Not all Skylight flashings are the same, and if you're specifying the wrong one, you won't find out until it's too late and you get a call back. Over 3 years, we put 3 different flashing types through their paces, using the same criteria, same conditions, and the same level of scrutiny. The results weren't what most people in this industry would expect. I'm Jono Anderson from Luxweld. We've built Australia's most advanced welded Skylight flashing system to help builders reduce leaks and defects and warranty headaches. In this episode, I'm sharing exactly what we found so you can make the right call before it ends up on your defect list. Builders beware, not all Skylight flashings are the same. They might look very similar when you look at them, and especially from the ground they all look the same. They might all be sold as the ultimate flashing solution. They might all seem like they're going to do the job when they're first installed, but once they're sitting on the roof, exposed to the rain, heat, movement, expansion, contraction, debris and time, that's when the difference starts to show. And the problem for builders is this: you usually don't find out the flashing was wrong early on. It's not until months, or if not 12 months later on. Sometimes the homeowner's long already been in there, the ceiling's now marked, and you've got a callback sitting on the desk in your list. That's why we decided to test the 3 most common flashings over 3 years and looked at them through the lens that actually matters to builders. Not just does it look right, or can I get it quickly, or is it cheap? And we assess them on things that actually affect real projects. How fast can you get them? How easy are they to install? And what's their risk of failure? In that category we put, are they likely to leak? How many penetrations? Is rust or corrosion an issue? And how strong are they? And what sort of warranty sits behind them? That's the stuff that matters once the job is handed over. A Skylight flashing is not just a piece of folded metal. It's actually a water management system around one of the most vulnerable parts of your roof, the penetration. And if it fails, it can damage plaster, obviously paint, insulation, flooring, cabinetry. You know, the list can be whatever's underneath in that house. And the biggest one, the builder's reputation. So let's walk through what we found and what we discovered. The first type we tested was a riveted flashing, probably the most common on the market. This is a demo one here. And yes, this one doesn't have the full amount of rivets in it, but you can get these made up really quickly. You can get them in pieces. The roofers put them together. They're in color bond, so it's the same as the roof there. Very simple. They can be made up on site. You don't necessarily need specialist suppliers or equipment. And for programming under pressure, I understand these look really attractive. It's quick, it's familiar, the materials, the way it's done with rivets, and it's available. And when you're trying to get roof closed in and jobs done, these things do matter. There is a problem with it. In our testing, this type had the highest risk of failure. We tried various different designs with the folds, looking at what else is out there. You've got the most penetrations going through there, so these should be every 40 mil, so you'd have a number in between there. You've also got pinholes in here, even though there is a lap join. You do have that pinhole in that corner. And you're relying on silicone. And these things, look, they look all right when they initially come to site. That one day that looks fine, after handover it can look fine, but over time, movement and the fact you've got a gap in there, and that can be on the high side of the roof, so that's where the water's going to hit. Water is not very forgiving. Once it finds that little point of entry, it can be through capillary reaction, that's where it's going to kill you there. Different areas on your roof. A Skylight flashing, it alters the way water flows down the roof. It's actually putting water around there, which makes them much more vulnerable than, say, your ridge caps or barge caps or other areas on the roof. And with weather changes and storms getting heavier and more downfall in shorter times, you're running a big risk using something like this. Upside on these, yes, speed, availability, most people know what to do with them. Downside, it's your highest risk. Most penetrations, biggest leak, and shortest warranty. Depending on the supply, if they're pre-made, you're looking at 12 months, or the longest one we could find was 24. So that's not a very long warranty for something that you're putting on your roof. And those costs of repairs, your time, supervisor time, trust with the homeowner, it's going to cost you. Second type we tested, and there's a few manufacturers that do a spot welded flashing. So these ones are a zinc aluminum sheet that is powder coated, and you can actually see the spot welds up and down here, the little dots. So they don't have any penetrations like with the rivets. They're just relying on the spot welds to hold it together, and then they're silicone sealed after. So on paper it looks like a much smarter way to go, and they've got some big advantages. A lot less silicone used to seal them because the joints are quite tight, the laps are bigger. It's a stronger flashing. These are made from normally a 0.7 rather than like your 0.5 for your color bond. So it's always going to give you more confident when something feels, you know, a bit heavier. There was one big problem we found with this particular style. These flashings, well, before we get to that one, lead time's a little bit longer too. So rather than, you know, next day type thing from roofing suppliers, these were 10 to 20 days depending on the supplier. Now, some jobs you can manage that. Obviously, that does push strain, or you need to plan it into it. So watching, you know, if you're rushed for time, you can be waiting on these for a bit. But the biggest issue we found with these ones is the silicone that gets applied when these get powder coated. This goes through the powder coating oven, and that silicone gets baked. And no matter what silicone we actually tried with it, different varieties, they all come out deformed, like they lose their elasticity. That's a massive problem. And so you can see the flaking here in it. That's actually where the silicone was. And I mean, that one's probably just a scratch from folding out the thing, but this is where, and that's got a pinhole underneath there. So these units here, while they've got a lot of advantages, that tiny hole there that pops open once that silicone flakes away is a massive issue. One gap is all it needs. And that one place, again, on that high side as it pushes water around it from the roof above, is going to be a big issue. So it's definitely stronger than the rivet option. Fewer penetrations, so it does reduce some of the risk. It does still rely on silicone because the spot welding isn't a complete seam weld. Water can still go through, particularly capillary action. And that reliance becomes the issue. That brings us to the third and final one. That's the fully welded Luxweld flashing. No silicone. And difference comes... This is a mini FCM 5 degree one. You've got no silicone joints in the flashing. No rivets, no unnecessary penetrations. And so there's no weak points, really. This fully welded aluminium flashing is designed so anywhere water hits it, it's not going to fail. You've got nothing that can flake away. Now, in terms of lead time, yes, there's still a lead time for these. 5 days on average, looking for them to be powder coated. So it's not the same as folding something up quickly on side, but for most builders, lead time is manageable if you can plan into the job. But the trade-off is important because what you gain is a much stronger, more reliable flashing. It's easier, quicker to install because it arrives as one piece. I mean, these arrive as one piece, they can as well. They can also be made up as on site, but no silicone. Nothing that can deteriorate. It's stronger than the 0.7 flashings, the spot welded. There's less flex. It can be custom made as well to suit any roof profile, but there is a whole lot of standard ones for trim deck, clip lock, tile, corrie. And because it's marine grade aluminium, you don't have to swap products. You can use the one flashing whether it's on the coastal beachfront property or in the bush for bushfire. And that really matters when you're going through. You're not having to think about different things all the time. The key when looking at these is looking at that lack of silicone joints in it. And they really matter for the builder in the long term. You know, Skylights are probably 0.002% of your whole build cost. You don't want to let 0.002% of your build costs become 50% of your defect list. You want to remove the most common failure points. We want to remove the extra silicone joints, remove the extra penetrations, have it in a one-piece constructed flashing. It's stronger. You've got better control over quality and how it's installed. You've got less reliance on someone on site trying to put it all in perfectly. And that's the real thing here for builders. And when you're comparing Skylight flashings, they often compare the wrong things. They compare the price. They compare availability. They compare whether the product can be made quickly and can I get it there tomorrow. Look, and I understand these things matter and there's pressure and you need to keep your schedules tight, but it's not the whole story. And the better question I think you need to ask is, what is this flashing going to be like in 12, 18 months, 2 years? What's it going to be like after 5 heavy storms, a baking hot Australian summer? What happens when that roof, you got a bit of movement in it? Is it going to hold up? What happens when you get a bit of debris build up? And yes, that's not your problem or not your fault. The homeowner should look after maintenance. When you get that call back, it becomes a problem you've got to deal with one way or another. If you get that call for a stained ceiling or something else, was it really worth the day that you saved? Because that's where the true costs show up. Riveted flashing, quick, accessible, highest risk, shortest warranty. Spot-Welded flashings, they're stronger, fewer penetrations, still relied on silicone, had a big issue in the powder coating process that needs to be addressed. Fully welded Luxweld flashings, yes, plan them into the job. There is a short lead time, but it removed all those other issues. And that's the difference. It eliminates the risk for builders. It's not just product decision. It's a defect risk decision. It's a warranty decision. It's a reputational decision. If you're building one home, maybe you can expect all the little details closely. But if you're building at volume, you need standards, you need repeatable processes, and you need strong, simple products that reduce this chance of someone getting it wrong. You need systems that don't depend on silicone staying perfect for years. And to give you an idea, these are either a 12 or a 24-month warranty, depending on the supplier, 5 years to 15. The Luxweld flashing comes with a 20-year install warranty. And that's why we did Luxweld the way we did. We wanted to create a Skylight flashing system that removes the common weak points we kept seeing in the industry. The silicone joins, the flashings, the extra penetrations, creating a one-piece welded construction that made it easier for the installers, takes the risk out for the builders and the architects, and strong enough for larger skylights as well, practical enough for builders who need reliable standard across all their projects. Because a skylight leaks, they shouldn't be accepted as normal. Builders shouldn't have to keep wearing costs for poor details on the roof. So if you're a builder or an architect or a construction manager, here's the takeaway. Don't choose a skylight flashing because it's fast. Don't choose it because it's familiar. Don't just choose it because it looks all right when it goes on the roof. Just ask what happens over time. Ask where the weak points are. Ask how many joins or penetrations it has, whether it relies on silicone as its main point to stop the water getting in, and ask how strong it is. And what's the warranty that backs it? Because that gives you a big indicator on what they expect it to last for. And ask whether it gives your team a better chance of getting the job done right first time. Don't let the smallest part of your project become the biggest risk on your defects. At Luxweld, we help builders review their current Skylight flashing standard and identify the weak points before they become defects. So if you want fewer Skylight callbacks, fewer warranty headaches, and stronger standard across your projects, book a meeting with us. We'll walk you through what you're currently using, where the risks are, and how to tighten up the detail before it ends up on your defect list. Because with Skylights, the flashing decision you make today, it's either going to protect you later or cost you later.